Welcome back to City Skylines. I believe this is episode 15 of Calhoun Falls. And in this episode, I am going to time lapse it like we did at the end of last episode because I liked how that turned out. And I'm just going to fill out this entire area with Suburbia, or as much of it until I get tired of doing it, and then I'll stop doing it. But I'm going to fill out a lot of this area with Suburbia, and I think I'll try and hook up the buses. It's not going to have a ton of commercial zone in it, mainly because I want most of that commercial to be concentrated in our mall here, our very big shopping center area here, which I do believe is a little oversized as to what I was going for. And I should probably have spaced this out a little bit more. But this is what we're trying out. And also for this to be a transit hub for the area, I think hopefully will continue to work well. I also had some thoughts about what I want to do for our bigger downtown area over here. And I think what I want to do is that I actually want to build a secondary river that kind of comes out of here, goes diagonally for a bit, and then kind of continues diagonally, and then turns off and goes out into here. And I don't really know if I want it to be large enough for a ship, but I don't know. I think it would be interesting to have just some ships sailing down, a bit of a canal here that we make. I don't know how realistic that would be, but canals exist in a lot of other cities. So I think it would look cool at the very least, and I'm willing to give it a shot. But that's for a separate episode. And in this episode, I am going to time-lapse all this stuff. So I will do that, and we'll cut back in soon. So I just wanted to go ahead and pause the time lapse here to say that we have unlocked the final milestone. Our city is now a megalopolis, so we can buy more expansion permits, although I think we've already bought all of what we want, except for maybe some tiles in the middle of the sea. I don't know. We also got more development points, and I think we have enough development points to just unlock the whole tech tree at this point. But what I was just doing here is that we were having a problem with, crematorium availability. Our number of deaths that we were having per month was a little bit more than our handling capacity. So I built a bunch of crematoriums so that I never have to deal with this again. And hopefully they will be sending out their hearses shortly. But I don't know if we have a backlog or anything like that. It looks like we have a backlog on healthcare. And I do want to note that, in general, our healthcare quality downtown is just a little bit less than what I would prefer it to be. But I mean, I guess it's not too bad. And I would want to reiterate that I think when we build a medical university and get some more bonuses, that will be able to help our city out. And that medical university is one of the things that I wanted to put, I think, down here-ish. What I want to do is I want to bring in like a secondary canal river from this spot and kind of come like up here and over here. But I'd also like to kind of build another little canal kind of coming up here like this and then sort of connecting. We'll need to flatten this out a bit more, but this other canal will come up from here and then sort of connect to that other one loosely around where this is, and it's kind of going to make this into an island area. And what I want to do with that area is that I want to place down this medieval castle in there, as well as this bronze statue is going to go in there. Not the observation tower yet, but the castle and the bronze statue. And what's also going to go in there is the technical university, which is bigger than I thought it was. The medical university is also going to go in there, and putting another college in there, you might as well. I don't think we will need an actual university in there, but maybe I might plop it in and try to see what's happening with that. So that might be need a little terraforming, but I think that's what I want. Loosely, this area to be a very big university complex is what I want this area to be. And then this will be our bigger downtown area, I think. And I think I also want this area to be kind of our transit hub as well. So I want that to have a large train station, and that'll handle all of our intercity trains, as well as a couple more intracity trains. I think I want to have one going with maybe a stop here and then up into this train station to connect that down to here-ish. And then I also want to put our metro lines, our subway lines, coming kind of through here and like maybe up a bit and kind of in downtown a bit. And I want them all to kind of converge, I think, there. So I think that that should be pretty good, and it will hopefully work well for us. So that's what I'm going to do with this area, but that is, again, for a different episode. And the Technical University is actually really big, but I think we can get it all to fit in here. So hopefully it'll be good. I want to make like a big college campus sort of area that's a nice, I think, use of this little space, which will then have a moat around it. And so that's kind of why I wanted the castle there, is I want it to sort of look like, like the university bought out the castle, and and it was like the castle used to be bigger and have a big moat around it, and so then the university took that space and turned it into a big education complex. So anyway, that's what I want to do with this area right here. But going back over to our suburbs, a quick little update. I've made a lot of progress on this area. I kind of wanted to just knock most of this out in this episode. This area is going to be more industrial, so we're going to leave that alone. This area, I think we want, honestly, to be mostly farmland still. I think I want this whole area to be mostly farmland in here to go along with this theme here. And then this area, suburbs, and these areas, I think, will be suburbs. This triangle, I'm not 100% sure about, because we have kind of an industrial-y theme going on here with a lot of our city service buildings. So it's possible that I'll try to keep that theme. But I think we will want this to be more residential. Also in this area, I put in a firefighting helicopter depot. I think this is mostly for forest fire emergency, or forest fire natural disasters, which I've turned off because I didn't want to deal with that. But hey, it gives you 5 firefighting helicopters, and we only had 1 before. So I figured that would be a nice little addition to our airport area, you know, having a bit more helicopter pads here. We could also pretend that those weren't just for firefighting helicopters, but for other more generic airport purposes as well. So anyway, so I've been having fun with that. I like the way our city looks as well. I do like this area, and I'm really excited to be starting to work on that area in a few episodes. Although before I do that, I think I would maybe like to finish out this area and kind of build it in. I think this I want just to be like medium density all back in here, and I don't know what I want to do with this area. Maybe offices in this area, but this I think I want medium density mostly. Oh, also last episode we put up this server farm as kind of like a big compute server. You know, ostensibly it's to help with network traffic, but I don't think it really helped that much with our network traffic. Whoa, okay. I just now saw that. That is extreme. Okay. Okay, I have just now seen that there are 200 to 300 people waiting at this one bus stop. Probably that's because of the fact that I don't know. Maybe it's just this whole area. But this is an extreme amount of people, and I think that, gee, where do these people want to go? Okay, we're getting a little off topic for this, but they want to go somewhere else. This is over here. Okay, so they do just want to take that bus on the actual bus route. I think that for the scale of people waiting at that bus stop, I would kind of like that to be addressed by a tram. Although, yeah, that's kind of in a weird spot. See, what I want these people at this bus stop to do is I want them to walk over to this tram and then take the tram line back to the Thornton Peak area. But it's kind of weird because there's not really a tram in there. So, yeah, that's kind of a problem. Well, now hold on. Which bus? This bus route. Okay. I mean, it does stop there. Now, this bus route has also been very crowded for a while. It says 50% usage, but that's mainly, I think, because people are really just going one way. So yeah, the problem here is that we just have a lot of people backing up at these 2 bus stops. So if I was doing metro subways in this area, I would say that this would be a good, place where a subway could happen, going from Thornton Peak over this area. But I didn't really want to do that in this area, and I wanted to keep the aesthetic more towards the trams and our loop system that we've got going on here. So unfortunately, that's just kind of in a tough spot where you're going from one place that has a tram near it to a different place that doesn't really have a tram near it. I wonder, because there's not really a tram stop around here, I wonder if we could put in a tram stop here-ish. And maybe that would convince people to get back to Thornton Peak. Although we have a tram stop right here, so I don't really think that that's necessary. I think that the bus just kind of is their most efficient option for doing that. So that's kind of unfortunate that that's happening. Yeah. I don't know how backed up this line is getting. It's really just this one spot. So I think when all these buses come in, they'll be able to clear out all of the passengers from this area. I would like to click back on this at a more peak time to see just how many people are actually using this space, or if it's just like, because in the game it's 1 a.m., right? And so that makes me worried that these people have been waiting here for a very long time. So hopefully they weren't. But the buses are kind of clearing them out pretty quickly as they go around and go through their routes. So I think we can probably leave that like it is for now. And yeah. I don't know how long the time lapse has been at this point because I'm still in the middle of making it. But over here we had some low medical coverage, so I put in another medical clinic and I gave it the ambulance depot, and I also put in one firehouse. It looks like this area, this industrial area, will need another firehouse, so I think I'm going to put that one right there, and they should be happy about that. I'll just upgrade it. I don't know if it needs to be upgraded, I just like doing it. For our education, between the last episode and this episode, we are still starting to be under capacity or I guess over capacity. We're starting to still have more students again than we are educating, which is troubling because that would, to me, that means that a lot of these students are coming from these areas, which has 2,400, 1,800, 2,000, and 1,600. And in these areas, I put, that's 1,500, 3,000 capacity for elementary schools. Plus, I think this whole thing is 600, and there's one there that's also 600. So 4,200 capacity for 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10,000. So we have 4,000 student capacity for 10,000 residents, which should be over capacity considering that if we look at our population tab, we are 30% children. It's a lot of children. And we should still be... So capacity here for education, in my opinion, is good, right? We're done with that. So what this tells us is not having enough elementary schools is that there's just still not enough in the city generally. But we have a ton at these city elementary schools still. And I also started to put in some more high schools. We were also starting to lag behind on that because we were starting to educate our people. So I plopped down a few more high schools. And so, yeah, that worked pretty well. So I'm going to put down another elementary school. My hope is that when these elementary schools fill up and the children get educated, I'll be able to remove them all. Yeah. I think ideally there would be a better solution for this problem than just plopping down more elementary schools everywhere. Because I just, in reality, I can't imagine that you would need this many elementary schools at once. What I have to do is look at the wiki and see what the population distribution of a mature city is supposed to be. Because my guess is that I'm just way over capacity I just have way too many children than I'm supposed to. That's my guess. Yeah. Another reason why I want to build that university is because we have a lot of people university eligible, and we don't actually have any capacity to educate them, and to build out more office zones, we need those highly educated workers to be able to fill those slots. So that's another reason. So I think that's university project is going to be the next thing I do after this episode is done. So I'll do it in the next episode. But I think for now, I'm going to try and go ahead and finish filling in this suburb district, and then I'll check the time, and I will decide if we're going to be done. So, see you in a little bit. Okay, just to cut back in here, I think that we are probably pretty good with this region, and I'm liking how all of this looks so far. We put in some bus lanes during the time lapse, and I put in 2 that went around this area in a clockwise, counterclockwise loop fashion, because I didn't really think any of our, one directional back and forth lines were going to cut it here, because there isn't really a particular destination that you would want to go to, except for over here somewhere. And I also wanted to put in a bus line this way, which also went over here somewhere, so that was a better use as a loop, and that's getting some use, so that's good. I also decided to reroute our airport line. It used to go up here, get on the highway, and then go down to the airport, but I actually want to add some more stops along this road, so I put on one where I built some business area for that, and I think I'll need to put some more business area like down here a little bit somewhere. I think this would be a good place for a stop, and maybe like over here, possibly, we'll see, but possibly. And then it goes to the airport. So I've kind of just made that a dual use line. It stops a few times for local, and then it'll go to the airport for non-local, which I suppose I'm not totally sure if that's a great idea, but they do also have the train, and so there are multiple ways for these people to get to the airport. They can take the train to the tram, or they can take this different bus right down south to this tram stop, and then take that directly to the airport. So there are multiple ways. I was also having some problems with low capacity on the airport line, so I increased the number of buses, which we would have to do anyway if we want to increase the number of stops and the total amount of customers we want to serve with that line. So also dual purpose change. Anyway, I think this episode was largely successful. It was kind of repetitive, which you saw in the time lapse, but building the suburbs is pretty repetitive. However, we did unlock a great deal of our signature buildings. The only ones we haven't unlocked is the Golfers Villa and the Royal Villa, which are the 2 highest level EU, so European low-density waterfront housing buildings. I unlocked everything else. So the Industry Mansion, the Architect's Mansion, we already have this one, the Extreme Athletes Villa, and all 6 of these, the Painter Mansion, the Film Actor Mansion, the Rock Musician, Sculptor, Theater Actor, and Pop Musician. Usually, I like to just plop down all these mansions like right next to each other, because I think it looks really neat to have like a mansion-y area. And I honestly might do that over by the castle area. I think that would be kind of a pretty darn neat use of space. Kind of like put them right along that bank of the canal over there in kind of like a corner, like me over here where the canal sort of starts and our castle is, but our real university proper hasn't really yet begun. I think that's what I want to do with all of these mansions. But again, that's for a later episode. Anyway, thank you for watching Calhoun Falls. I'm Joe, and tune back in on the next one. Bye!